another good little hangout here, and let's jump into our DAO call. I see Foreign here. Hello, Foreign.
And Jan, how are we today?
Doing well. How are you?
I am surviving. If I drop out and mute for a few seconds there, I might be having a coughing fit. But
Oh
otherwise,
no!
I'm surviving.
Last time you were in that had the time zone. Now are you back
I know.
in your normal spot, but you're sick?
Yeah, I just can't win.
Oh.
I escaped the winter, went and had my sunshine, and now I'm back and paying for it.
Oh, hope you have a speedy recovery.
Fingers are crossed. Fingers are crossed. There's light at the end of the tunnel at the moment, so onwards and upwards. So let's see, we have Snapshot active again. It's been a little while since we had a good few props up, so we can dive in here. We have 4 active proposals at the moment, with the last minute one you posted just before the Hangouts. So first up, we have the DAO Foundation Director Replacement Election. It is currently sitting at 60% quorum and has still got 7 days left. And that is for our director, all the foundation directors. And we have Thrax, Kokoshu, Fifu, and Nadil up for nominations. So anyone that hasn't voted, jump in. We've still got a little bit to go there, but plenty of time. Hopefully we'll make it this second time around. Following that, we have the Make Aavegotchi Based Again proposal. So that one's looking good at the moment. We have 51.6% quorum and 96% in favor of moving to base. So that's some pretty strong support there for the move. And we still have 11 days left on, no, 7 days. No, 11 days left on that one, my mistake. So we still have time for that one, and we're pushing closer and closer, but it's looking pretty clear that the community is in favor of making the move from Polygon over to base. The next one, this one's fairly fresh off the press as well. This one was posted by Hardcore. It's Agate142 to buy $2 million worth of Ghost. So this one it's a great proposal. It's got the addresses and everything for what needs to be done by who and when and where. And it also includes buying $10-ish thousand worth of ODOS tokens for a nice reduction in fees when we're doing all the swapping. So it will swap 1 million DAI and into USDC. It'll do it every 15 minutes. The exact price point isn't in the proposal, just to avoid market manipulation, but currently it is 90% in favor of buying the dip. So I mean, this one's fresh. It's still got 14 days left and only at 17% quorum, but so far so good. And so hopefully we can get this one going. And then once the purchasing is all finished, we can decide afterwards what to do with the ODOS tokens, whether we keep them or sell them back out again. And then our latest proposal, Coderdan, is the allocate 400k Ghost from the GOTCHIverse player rewards wallet for Gotchi Points Season 1. So this is upping the rewards, but also extending the time for Season 1, just to allow for all the changes that have been going on lately and migrating and all that fun stuff. So it will be Season 1 will be the only season that's on Geist. Once this season ends, Geist is shutting down, and we'll have around a week for everyone to migrate their stuff out of there and over to base. And Season 2 will then happen on base and will include a land burn and have glitter incorporated and multipliers and other fun stuff, but nothing's nailed in for Season 2 just yet. There will be a new thread popping up in the forum for us to discuss and work out where we want to go with season 2 once the dust settles from season 1. And of course, if this doesn't go through as a successful prop, if we vote no, then the GOTCHI points campaign will be cancelled. All the burned Alchemica will be returned to the original owners, and there will be a 2-week window to bridge out of Geist. Geist will still be closing, and all user tokens that haven't been bridged will be manually returned to users for anyone that's AFK. So that one has currently only got 4% quorum, but it is super fresh. But at this point, the votes are heading for yes, allocate 400k for season 1. And so that wraps up our snapshot review. So, I mean, that one still has 15 days left. So plenty of people, if you haven't voted, obviously, jump in there and give it a look. And yeah, it's nice to see Snapshot on the move again. It's been a while. So following from there, I mean, the only real discussion that's been happening has been focusing on the move to base and what's happening with season 1. So do you have anything you wanted to add in, Coder Dan, as to why you went the way you did, or anything you wanted to address or add?
Most of the discussion happened in the Make Aavegotchi based again forum. We were running quite a few numbers, looked at the total value of all the Alchemica that currently exists, looking at how much has been burned, current value of ghosts, and the amount of ghosts inside the player wallet. So I think the intention here with this proposal to allocate a 400k ghost, we're still going forward with the idea that we want to simplify the ecosystem. Quite a few responses in the census, as well as our own kind of feelings that things are quite complex. We would love to get simplified down to just a kind of a single token at this point, especially going with. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. So the plan is to have this 18-month period where we're kind of phasing out Alchemica, but also doing it in a gamified way that allows us to conduct more marketing and actually have like a pretty robust campaign going that can attract people that we can do competitions for and just do more than just simply saying, oh, like we're done with Alchemica. Here's all the Gotchiverse player rewards back to landowners in some other potentially simpler but less more controversial way. So I think that we're trying to meet multiple goals here, having a way to market our games over the next 18 months, also simplifying the ecosystem, knowing that at the end of this 18 months, Alchemica and Glitter, the plan is to phase them out. So also giving landowners and farmers a way to continue farming, like not having to turbocharge everything and just nuke the farm. There'll also be the option in season 2 to burn the parcel if you would like to do that for a lower amount of Alchemica. But that is going to be discussed. That'll be the next item that we're discussing for season 2.
Cool. It's nice to have it kind of gamified, and I mean, we have plenty of time to burn our Alchemica. I mean, is it kind of predicted that most of the Alchemica will be burned in the first season, given the rewards are going to be higher for season 1?
Yeah, we actually just got the chart updated. So this chart is now showing the circulating supply of each of the 4 Alchemica tokens. But previously, it wasn't really showing. It wasn't treating the Geist wallet as a burn. So I think it's a pretty close approximation. This chart is only for Polygon, so we don't actually have the exact number of tokens burned on Geist, but it's very, very close. Like pretty much anyone who's moved Alchemica to Geist is burning it. So you can see the circulating supply of FUD has gone from what looks like about 332 million now down to 251 million, and I think it'll most likely like continue. So I don't know if we're not going to get down to like zero, but I think there's a decent chance that we get back to kind of the last time that we had a burning event like this.
Right. And the current glitter staking, when is that finishing? Is that finishing when we move to base, assuming that goes through, or is there a timeline on that?
So glitter, we do plan to have the season 2 will support burning your parcel, but there will be a glitter tie-in, and I think this is a area I'm not totally sure that we need to have glitter staking on base. We could, but there's a couple things to think about. One is that we don't really need to move the Alchemica LPs from Polygon on QuickSwap over to base. Again, we could, but I don't know if like that's not a really, we're kind of phasing the tokens out, so it doesn't really make sense to have LPs bridged over to base for that. But I mean, probably someone's going to make an LP on base, so they will exist. But do we need to actually incentivize them? Is the question? I don't think we really do. The other aspect is I think someone mentioned using glitter. Maybe we could use glitter as like a token for rewards on Aerodrome, which I thought was kind of an interesting idea. So it's not totally. I don't think we necessarily need to bridge the whole staking contract over, but if we do, I mean, it's not very difficult to do. It's going to work basically the same as it worked on Polygon over on base, and we would just migrate the remaining balance over.
Right. Because I know I still have some tiny amount staked there. I haven't checked it in a while, but
yeah.
So I can just leave it there or unstake it and join the move. Either way, I should be fairly safe. But what happens to unfarmed parcels after the 18 months? Phantasma is looking to find out.
So the intention with the parcels is we do want to use them in the Gotchiverse 3D. So as I've said a few times, like I wouldn't recommend everyone just for season 2, like don't just go and burn all of your parcels. Leave some parcels because we do plan to have things to do on the parcel that is not farming. So we're essentially separating the farming side, basically phasing that part out, but we want to introduce more actually parcel gameplay and parcel utility in the verse over this next period. So what will happen to the unfarmed parcel? I mean, nothing will happen to it. You'll still have it, but the farming aspect of it, like we won't be supporting Alchemica any longer. Not to say that you can't farm it, but we won't be using the tokens for anything.
Right. So anyone that has their farms set up and all their installations, I mean, all that will still remain and function. And if there's anything left, they could technically still farm it out, but there just would be no use case at this point.
I mean, yeah, someone else in the community might introduce a use case for Alchemica. I've seen people talk about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I suppose the same would happen with glitter as well. If someone did make a liquidity pool over on base, there would be glitter floating around on base somewhere. And
Mhm.
even once it's phased out, again, X amount of that token could still be floating around and be open for
Yeah, the
use.
tokens will still exist. I mean, there's no way you can't really ever get
Non-existent.
rid of a token.
Makes sense. All right, cool. And what is your thoughts on the length of all the other seasons? I mean, season 1 is going to be the unusual one. It's going to be extra long and extra
Mhm.
rewards. But what are your thoughts roughly at this point for the rest of the seasons, the 15 that's left?
I like the suggestions. So I don't know if we actually need real seasons. What I did like the suggestions, and I think it's the right way to go, to just have the leaderboards and to have rounds where we're just automating the rewards that are being paid out over the remaining, whatever it is, 14, 15 months. But the reason I like seasoned is because they kind of allow us to group the rounds. So if we want to make any kind of balance changes or bigger patches, some kind of like modifying the rules somewhat, like not obviously changing completely, but like, it's a long period. We don't necessarily want to lock in the exact rules for the whole remaining 14 months right at the beginning. We want to leave a little bit of flexibility. So kind of like that's what I see the purpose of the season is, in that it's like during this season the rules will not change, but they might change next season. And as far as actual rewards payouts, I kind of agree with the sentiment in the chat that we can just do either weekly or bi-weekly reward payouts and don't like overcomplicate it too much.
That makes sense. I think every 2 weeks would be a nice tempo for rewards to be coming in, giving everyone a chance to potentially rethink their strategies based on what they got and didn't get and continue on from there. And then again, like you said, we don't want to lock in 100% in stone every season because, I mean, who knows what the market and crypto world and everything is going to do.
Mhm.
So it would be a bit early to be locking things in too hard. So yeah, so this season it's burn your Alchemica, and next season it'll be something different.
It won't,
Okay.
yeah, it won't be radically different, but I think we're going to introduce the land burning. Uh, the numbers on those, the numbers are very different for land burning. Like once we introduce that mechanic, there's a lot more Alchemica out there. I've run the numbers, and there's about I think it was about 5 billion FUD locked up in all of the parcels, compared to the current circulating supply, which is quite small. So I think once we allow people to start burning parcels, the amount of Alchemica that we're talking about will be it'll be like way higher than it is right now. So that's kind of one change, and yeah, I think that's probably the main one, is just adding in that new mechanic.
And so when we're burning the parcels, is that burning the Alchemica and the parcel?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. So you just need
So
to
we'll
keep a
have
few
fewer
parcels for somebody
parcels.
else.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend just chucking in all of your parcels. Leave some.
For sure, for sure. And how is what's the timeline at the moment for GBS? How's that looking? Because that's currently our
Mm-hmm.
main utility for parcels on the horizon.
So the proof of concept for GBS is it's currently being worked on by the team. As Jesse was just talking about, they're testing the combat right now using the same mechanics as we had in SFA, and just getting it to a point where it's fun to fight licks. The first component of GBS will be PvE combat, where you're fighting licks first the initial like proof of concept, just so we can get it out quickly and have something to play, will be solo. But then the alpha version will have co-op mode. But I think it's worth noting at this point, this version is not going to be on the parcel itself. It's just going to be like a D1 area. So the version, assuming we get past alpha and people are enjoying the game, enjoying fighting the licks, bonking raffles and all that, then we'll go to actual parcel play. Or we don't want to overcomplicate things too much, and we want to just be able to get it out fairly quickly.
Right. And when it does, if and when it does move to parcel play, is there any special utility for any of the installations and decorations? Are there any special skills or effects or things that different decorations are going to have, or are they just going to be purely decorative?
I think the installations will play a role. It's something I personally would definitely want, like reservoirs, harvesters, altars, golden altars. I think they should all play a role, assuming we can get to the parcels and we're actually playing on the parcel. But yeah, as far as decorations and things, those were never really intended to have utility. I think we even put it like in the white paper, like they don't have utility. We might do a nod to them though. But I mean, the ones that will mainly have utility are going to be the actual ones that are part of farming. But I think it's still a little bit too early to really confirm any details on that. So let's just get to the alpha. Let's get it to a point where it's fun to play. People want to actually spend ghosts to play it, and then we'll see where we are when we get to that stage.
Cool. And are there any prize pools? I mean, I know you're probably going to have some sort of competitions and things for the launch, but how do you potentially envision? I mean, if we're paying Ghost to play, how do you see the rewards being distributed? Or
so part of the rewards will be Alchemica. You'll be able to earn Alchemica by playing GBS, and we will definitely have. If you read the initial blog post, it's probably quite a while back, but it mentions the prize pool and basically either winning like wearables, having a wearable prize pool, and like kind of RNG based prizes within the game. And we'll either do that, or we might start simple and just keep it with like a ghost prize pool for the team or the individual that can get the highest score within the game.
So it would be just kind of the number one player, or maybe the top 5 or 10, or
it'll definitely be a leaderboard.
Cool.
It's going to be interesting because the level of skill, like there's kind of a skill gap that you'll be able to play as a player, where you're kind of deciding how hard you want the game to be, which will also decide your score. So it's going to be interesting to see people getting. I think it'll be good for the GOTCHI market. There'll be new reasons to try and like experiment with different builds, and especially once we get to co-op mode, have like different builds of GOTCHIs partnering together with each other.
Very good. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I'm not seeing anything else popping up in the chat question-wise. I mean, the forum has been super active for both these proposals in the Make Aavegotchi based again. So I suppose if anyone has any further questions, if they don't want to pop them in the chat now, we can continue discussions in there. Like I said, there will be another forum opening up for future seasons and how they want to shape up. But other than that, I mean, everything's currently in the thread, in the snapshot proposal, and in the post. So if you have anyone has any questions, oh wait, Yes, our CorpSec issues. So I'm assuming no future you have not had any further actual contact with the CorpSec we have or should have.
Yeah, so I emailed Juliet twice. All the directors are on that. So I bumped her, no response. Ross initially didn't respond, then responded that he's busy working on a Uniswap thing. Asked for the time frame, gave him the time frame. We are now past the time frame, so I bumped him again this week, but we haven't heard anything. So I wanted to bring it up because we do have to kind of figure out two things as a DAO. One is our process for KYC because we still have not KYC two of the directors, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to figure out a service that we can do this with. Like any suggestions from Coder Dan or Jesse would be dope. Just so, and like start the process of formalizing this so that we can do it going forward. Because we have to KYC before we can go to CorpSec. Even if we skip the KYC, CorpSec's not responding. So from a legal standpoint, and I'm not a lawyer, I feel like at the very least we need to KYC so that we can get these directors on the multi-sig. Although some will say that we shouldn't have them on the multi-sig if they're not on the foundation. But we are reaching a point where the directors who have stepped down or who are voted out are technically are not supposed to vote anymore. So we become dangerously close to only having 5 or 6 signers, maybe 7, which becomes problematic when you're trying to move with speed on certain things.
For sure. Not a good situation. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So,
the emails.
where did he respond to you, Ross? I've also been DMing, and yeah, he's very terrible, extremely terrible at responding. Apparently.
Yeah, he responded on
So
Twitter.
where was it, on X or Discord?
It was on X.
Okay. I'll bump him again there, because yeah, I think the CorpSec should tell you where to do KYC. It shouldn't be on us as the project to have to do our own KYC. They should have their own partner that they work with for this kind of stuff. Pixelcraft is not qualified to do it. You guys are, I mean, we're not qualified to do it on our own. This should be like a standard procedure that every CorpSec should know how to do.
Yeah, fair. We just need to move through the process. So I guess once we get through Ross, then if there's we don't have a fund of any sort to pay for any of this, right? Like this has to go through a vote.
For which part?
Like if we use the KYC service that we have to pay for, like a fee, even if it's like $100, we still have to go through the whole, DAO proposal for like something like that.
I guess we probably would, unless we want to preempt it now and just put up a proposal to put a small amount away to cover future expenses relating to this. But I just wanted to ask, that email you've been sending that direct to Juliet?
Yes, direct to Juliet with the directors tagged on it.
Have you got a general email for that company that maybe you could just, because I mean, maybe she's not even there anymore, maybe you could just go directly to the company and go, hey, who's actually supposedly looking after this, if anyone? And if not, then we can take next steps.
Yeah, I can jump in. I'll jump in the director's chat to see, because we have a LinkedIn somewhere in our conversation. So I might be able to call or directly message the company instead.
Maybe we'll get some more movement that way, hopefully. Otherwise, we can start the hunt for a new CorpSec and all that fun stuff. Because that's definitely something that needs to be sorted ASAP, because we're down to 5 signers and we're getting into gray areas. We don't like gray areas.
Yeah. Well, if I've just DM'd Ross again. If he doesn't reply to me there, we're just gonna have to take this to the timeline and figure out, like, it might get ugly on the timeline. But yeah, everyone go DM Ross. Let's just blow up his DMs. because this is ridiculous. We're gonna take this to the timeline. If this, I mean, he is still a lawyer. I don't think it's a good look for him if a bunch of people that he helped set a foundation up are. His bio says crypto law at Kali GG, so I don't think it's a good look if people are spamming him saying that he's not helping the foundation that he helped set up.
Sure, yeah. Send them DMs. And on that subject though, do we want to maybe pop up a prop saying to assign, I don't know, 1,000, 5,000 USDC worth into a little fund just to pay for this kind of admin-y type stuff that needs to be done and will need to be paid for, so that we don't have to go through a huge prop situation when the time actually comes that we are ready to pay the bill? That be reasonable?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Again, not sure about the actual budget, but maybe a retainer. It's like
Yeah, so
allocating a
need
funds
something
amount
for
of funds
this.
that could be used.
Yeah, just because I mean, at this point, we don't know what or how much we're going to need, how regularly it needs to be paid, or any of that fun stuff. So just to at least have that earmarked, and then once we use that, we can have something a little bit more concrete and tailored in place. Oh yeah. Jordan still found Juliet on their current website, so yeah, it's a little worrying that there's no response after all this time and multiple emails. Not a good look.
Maybe we'll reincorporate in Wyoming. I mean, at this point, things are going back to the U.S. Pendulum swinging back. Maybe there's a case to be made for. We don't need the offshore entity.
Maybe it might simplify things. I'm not sure, but it's definitely an option.
Have you guys emailed law@quality.ky? Has anyone emailed them?
No, so far we've only reached out to Juliet and Ross. Although I'm looking at this site
I mean,
now.
their email is right at the top, law@quality.ky. So I think it would make sense to reach out to that one. And then there's also a phone number, so maybe someone can give them a call.
Definitely, I think the general email would be a good start. Get it all in writing, and if we need to, we can follow it up with a call if we get no hop in a few days. I mean, we shouldn't have to wait days to hear a response from an active company. So, yeah, if you don't mind, no future, sending an email to that general address. And if you don't hear anything in a few days, maybe someone can try and give them a call. And if not, I think it's time to start most certainly looking elsewhere and finding an actual quality law and corporate service company.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to contact here. Either this form or the official email or the phone number. I don't know why. Maybe Julianne left. I don't know.
I'll forward the initial email to that other email. Forward. And then just add a little message.
But yeah, thanks No Future for taking this on.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, hopefully we'll have some good news on that side of things next week. And I'm sure we'll get any updates during the week if we have any. Does anyone else have anything they want to bring up, or is that potentially a wrap for this week? I haven't spotted anything myself here in the chat.
All good on my side.
good.
I'll show you guys something kind of cool I was playing with today. This was about 90 minutes of work, but did a little vibe coding. It's been a while since I've worked with databases and like cron jobs, but I was able to. We got these GIFs, and Giphy, the server, like the provider of the GIFs, they have an API that's pretty nice, but it doesn't tell you the view counts or the tags, but especially the view counts. There's no like centralized dashboard where you can see all of the all the view counts for all of your GIFs. Like they have an Excel export you can do. They have a couple different things, but I wanted to make a little dashboard where I can just open it every day and it'll show me how, like, we can order them in terms of how many views they've gotten or latest or various things like that. Have a little dashboard I can open. So this is a little bit of vibe coding with VO, which is really, really nice. I mean, it's quite powerful. It's and it links in directly to Vercel, so it's got all the different Vercel features. But there's it's a front end. It's also a database, and it's a cron job that's going to be running. So not quite done with it yet, obviously, but again, just inspiration. If you want to build something, like, now is a really amazing time to be playing with these vibe coding tools. You can do so much. Yeah.
Very cool. Alrighty, well, I think maybe that is all we have for today. Hopefully we'll have some updates next week as far as our admin side of things are concerned, and looking forward to the WebGL build coming for Gotchi Guardians, because I really want to play it, and that's my first chance coming, so can't wait for that. If anyone wants to go wishlist the Greek Gladiator on Steam, it's cool to see that on Steam or coming to Steam, so jump in there and do that. And otherwise, jump on Snapshot and vote. We have lots of new proposals, and yeah, let's do it.
Great. Thanks so much for hosting, Foreign.
No problem. Thanks everyone for coming out, and see you next week.
See ya. See ya, everyone.
Ciao, ciao.
Go touch some grass. Later.